afternoon, everyone. I'm Dr. Yun Lu. Thank you for joining the weekly education talks on Thursday at 3 p.m. The talks are organized by Kappa HC, Chinese American Parent Association of Howard County, and the event is sponsored by COED, Howard County Community Organizations Active in Disaster. Today, Mr. Dennis Courtney will present Introduction to Mindfulness Meditation. Mr. Dennis Courtney teaches yoga and meditation at Yoga Revelation Studio in Ellicott City. For his day job, he's a program manager at Northrop Grumman. Mr. Courtney believes that meditation has given him the transformative ability to find joy and peace in the present moment. His life goal is to show students the way to develop this ability within themselves and learn compassion for oneself and others. As a martial artist, athlete, outdoorsman, and Yoga Alliance certified teacher, Mr. Courtney brings a unique teaching style to those looking for compassion-inspired self-development. His practice will challenge you to find your true self physically, mentally, and spiritually. Welcome, Mr. Courtney.
Thank you very much, Yoon. Welcome, students and parents. It's my honor to be here. I'd like to begin by just a quick overview. We'll do some slides, a little background on mindfulness meditation. And during that time, if you have any questions or wish to interact, that would be great. And then we'll do a 20-minute guided meditation, where then we will mute our microphones and I will lead us through the actual practice of mindfulness meditation. And then afterwards, we'll unmute and again, have some additional discussions. So I hope that is agreeable with everyone. Let me share my screen. Are we good, Yoon? Can you see that?
Yeah, we can see your screen.
All right.
So if you can do the slideshow.
Yes, all right. So just to begin the slideshow, I'd like to do a little experiment. So I invite you to close your eyes. Everyone close their eyes. Take one deep, deep breath and slowly exhale. Now, the question is, what is a mind and where is our mind? Or is perhaps our mind unlocated? So, I'm going to say some words. I'd like you to repeat them quietly to yourself. I am happy. Now the question I have for you is, where, in what field or space are those words, I am happy, appearing in? And here's another question. In between the word I and the word am, what is in that space? So what is the background for the I am happy? What's in between the I and the am and the happy? And where does it arise from? And when you go to the am, where does it go to? This is your mind. Thoughts are in your mind. Images are in your mind. So I'd like you to keep your eyes closed if you'd like, and bring to mind an image of your favorite pet or your favorite animal. That image is in your mind. It's from your mind. And when that image goes away, your mind is still there. Now, if you can open your eyes, and can you see this glass of water here? So let's imagine that the water is your mind. And right now, the water is very clean. There's clarity. The mind is transparent. And with practice, you'll find it's peaceful. And there's contentment there. And if you were to imagine this being a large swimming pool, you could bathe and swim mindfully in complete relaxation. Now, what happens? So this is a mind where there is no I am and no images. It is just a still, quiet mind. Now, what happens when I put in a spoonful of thoughts from the past and stir it up? And what happens if I put in some thoughts of the future? So now the mind that was quiet in the now is now got thoughts, and the mind is agitated. So the practice of mindfulness meditation helps us to quiet and still the mind, letting go of thoughts from the past and thoughts of the future, and allows you to become more calm and peaceful and relaxed. And let's take a look at the brain. Everyone has, if you look at this right-hand slide, what we call an amygdala. An amygdala is that red dot right there. It's a part of the brain. You can see it's very low in the brain. It basically sits on top of your spinal column. That's how low and primitive this amygdala is, or the reptilian brain. And the limbic brain or reptilian brain is, you can see here on the left slide, is responsible for the fight, flight, freeze stress response. So if you get stressed out, if you've got a big test coming up or something isn't going right, you know, this little amygdala says it's time to fight back. And you can get angry and mad, or you can flight, you can run away. You know, you can run away and hide in different activities just to keep your mind off of, you know, a situation, or you can freeze. So there's fight, flight, and freeze. And it all comes from this little amygdala. Now here's something that's important that will come in handy for you. How big is the amygdala? And perhaps you can see this almond here. I'm going to eat this one. Here's one for you. Now, if you look at the colored areas of the brain, the prefrontal cortex up in the front, this is very important. This is where the more human side of our being is, with empathy and insights and emotions and intuition and fear modulation. It basically tells the amygdala, no, it's not that bad, just chill out. All right, so keep the amygdala in mind. It's part of our ancestry. And where does it come from? If you look on the left, you can see that the reptilian and the human early development looks very similar. Both have spinal columns. And at the top of the spinal columns, both of us have amygdalas. So we have a shared ancestry, and we have this, and oftentimes the amygdala can hijack or take over your behavior. However, you can practice and you can control the amygdala. And it's good to refer to or think about the amygdala as being a T-Rex in your head. And T-Rex, for the most the time, we want to keep him or her quiet. T-Rex is always going to be there, but we want it to sleep and only call upon it in very, very special circumstances. But for the most part, if you're having problems with your brothers or sisters or your parents or teachers or neighbors, or things are not going right in social media, and T-Rex starts coming into play and you can feel your body beginning to change and tense up or become angry, that's when meditation can help. And we'll practice that very shortly. So on this next slide, we have here that the thoughts that come into your mind have a negativity bias, which means that you're more likely to think about negative stimuli and also dwell or remember these negative stimuli. And this goes back to thousands, maybe millions of years ago, when we were walking on the jungle floors or the savannas. Those early human beings who were more attuned to danger and who paid attention to bad things around them were more likely to survive. So this meant that the genes that we were inherited made us more attentive to danger and to negative things. So those are pretty important when, we have to worry about saber-toothed tigers and things like that. Now, for the most part, we don't need to have that negative bias in our day-to-day life. For example, after an argument with a significant other or a friend or a classmate, you find yourself focusing on this person's flaws instead of acknowledging their good points. All you can remember is their imperfections. Not a good thing. That's letting T-Rex run your life. Not a good thing. And another example, you may still vividly recall humiliating yourself in front of your friends, even though the event happened years ago. And you find yourself still cringing with embarrassment over it, even though your friends have probably forgotten about it entirely. So that's the negativity bias. So what can we do? What can we do? Let's take a look. Mindfulness, a technique in which one focuses one's full attention only on the present. So we want to have our thoughts focused on the present moment. And what did we learn earlier? It's when there's no thoughts of the past and no thoughts of the future, and the water is clear and calm. So we focus only on the present, experiencing what's in the present. Some thoughts may pop in and feelings and sensations may pop in, but we don't judge them. So we're not the negativity biased mind judging and criticizing ourselves or others. So those are pretty important things. So who's using the mindfulness meditation? Well, it turns out top corporations such as Apple, anybody know Apple? Sony, Google, Yahoo, Home Box Office, Intel makes the chips, and many more companies now recognize the importance of mindfulness meditation and make time and provide resources for their employees to practice. Because if people are able to find more peace and clarity and their mind is more focused, they're able to be more productive and more sociable. And who else? Top universities doing research and teaching of mindfulness. Georgetown, California, Stanford, Chicago, Princeton, UMass Medical, Pittsburgh, Harvard, New York University. So all the top universities are now researching and teaching mindfulness. And recently at Stanford Medical, they did some studies on some expert meditators, long-term meditators, these monks. And what they found was, you remember the prefrontal cortex back up here, these colored areas?
Yes.
That actually this gray matter, they have evidence that this gray matter can grow. So it's not like you get one brain and that's it, and it never changes. They have a concept of called neuroplasticity, where you can rewire your brain, and they found that neurons that fire together wire together, and you can actually grow more gray matter here in the prefrontal areas by doing meditation and increasing your empathy and your sociability and your relaxation. So, 5 benefits of mindfulness: more patience, better focus and productivity, increased compassion, heightened body awareness, less stress and anxiety. And this is all from the Army. Another one here: decreased stress, better self-control. Well, this one, number 4, might be important for you guys. Improves academic results. I mean, that makes sense. If your mind is clear and it's focused and it doesn't have 9 million thoughts running through it, criticizing you, taking you back into the past, jumping ahead to the future, and skipping over the now. Helps. So I think that's all, but here's the thing. Since this is an academic class, I thought it was time to have at least a quiz. So all your entire grade is going to be dependent on one question. Now, is anybody starting to get a little bit tense? Take a deep breath. Close your eyes if you'd like. Take a very deep breath and exhale slowly. Can you feel the relaxation? Now, here it is. The amygdala is about the size of a tree frog, a watermelon, or an almond. So if you care to text your answers, or
You can type in the chat.
yeah, if you want to chat in your answers, we'll take a look. The amygdala is about the size of what? And I'm going to stop sharing right now and return to the camera. And let me just check a few of these answers here. Almond, 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 almond. Congratulations. See, it wasn't that bad. So now I'm going to teach you how to practice meditation. I'm going to give you different meditation techniques. When you practice at home this evening, you don't need to do all of these. Just pick your favorite things. So first of all, I invite you to sit in a comfortable position, your back fairly straight and erect, but not stiff. Your chin is level. Your hands, I like to take my left hand and put my right hand inside the left hand and connect the thumbs, and then put that in my lap. Okay? The eyes are closed. I invite you to arrive in the here and now, letting go of thoughts from the past, letting go of thoughts of the future. Only the now is real. I invite you to set an intention for this afternoon's practice. That means let's find something that's greater than ourselves. Perhaps you can bring to mind someone who's helped you in your life. And you can thank them. Show gratitude and thankfulness is the beginning of mindfulness meditation. Next, we do pranayama. Prana is the Sanskrit name for life force or energy, the breath of life. And yama is Sanskrit for regulate or control. So we'll just do a brief pranayama. Just follow along best you can. It's a breathing exercise. Ready, inhale for a count of 6. Ready, inhale. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Hold. 1, 2, 3. Exhale. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now resume normal breathing. Next, let's do what I call the ladder. We'll breathe in and do in-breath 1. And then we'll exhale and say out-breath 1. And then we'll go up the ladder and down the ladder. Ready, inhale, in-breath 1. Exhale, out-breath 1. In-breath 2. Out-breath 2. In breath 3. Out breath 3. In breath 2. Out breath 2. In breath 1. Out breath 1. Allow your body to relax. Allow the mind to relax. What we're going to do next is practice mindfulness of the breath. So instead of having the mind running around in the past and the future, we're going to anchor the mind to the body and to the breath. Why do we do that? Because the breath and the body are always in the now. They're always where the water is calm. And if we have the mind follow the breath, we can use the breath as an anchor to draw the breath, to draw the mind into the body, where the mind can seek refuge. So I invite you to locate where you feel the breath touching the body. Perhaps the rim of the nostrils, perhaps back in the sinus cavity, perhaps the upper lip, or maybe the rising and falling of your torso or chest. I invite you to find that location and be aware of it. Feel the breath coming in and going out. If your mind wanders off, that's okay. Just catch it and bring it back to the meditation object, your breath. Imagine the thoughts are like clouds. Just let them float by. Be the sky and return to the breath and the breathing body. Next, we'll transition from mindfulness of the breath to mindfulness of the body. The body's in the now. The sensations of the body are in the now. When we are aware with our mind, the body and the sensations, we connect the two and we become more integrated with mind and body and more healthy. I invite you to bring your attention to the crown of your head. Next to the forehead. Feel the weight of your eyeballs in their sockets. Feel the skin of the eyelids covering your eyes. Notice that there's faint light coming through the eyelids. It's not total darkness. Beware of the temples and the jaw and the neck. Where the neck meets the shoulders, just relax. Allow every ounce and molecule of tension holding you in place to just dissolve. Completely relax. Feel the shoulders and the shoulder blades, and the arms hanging down from the shoulders. Be aware of the hands and any sensations that may be there. Notice your thumbs, fingers, and your torso, and your sit bones. Feel the hips and the legs and the ankles and heels, arches, instep, toes, toenails. And then if you'd like, you can return back to the breathing body. The breathing body is the body within the body. If your mind wanders off, it's okay. That's what the mind's trying to do, take you out of the now. Just lovingly tell your mind you're meditating, and whatever it is that it wants can wait. Notice any quietness in the mind and body that may be occurring. Maybe not, that's okay. Notice the heart center, the source of your love and compassion for yourself and then others. In your daily lives, when experiences occur, I encourage you to pause before saying or thinking or doing anything. Allow this space of pause to fill with love and compassion from your heart center. And if it's a really difficult, challenging situation, pause a little longer. Allow that heart space to grow and grow and grow until you can live with what's happening. T-Rex will want to shut down that space and criticize and jump on you or attack someone else. But T-Rex can't cross that space, that pause. If thoughts come in, just return to the breath. And after a while, the mind will give up and return to its source and become calm, like that jar of water. And then the heart space grows even greater. And the heart space is always there. The water is always there. It's just when our mind is running around like a monkey jumping from tree branch to tree branch to tree branch, we don't notice the water, the peace. It's always good to, once you have these positive feelings inside yourself, we call this meditation, to share those feelings as wishes to others. Metta is the Pali word. Pali is an ancient Indian language. India meaning from India, Southeast Asia, Southwest Asia. Metta is love and kindness or love and friendliness. May I be well, happy, and peaceful. My family, friends, relatives, and neighbors, may they also be well, happy, and peaceful. May all living beings in this country be well, happy, and peaceful. May all living beings on Mother Earth be well, happy, and peaceful. May all living beings in the Milky Way galaxy be well, happy, and peaceful. Now let's break the bonds of space and time. And from our heart center, send this metta meditation, this metta love and kindness to all living beings in the universe, to all universes, and all dimensions. Return to the breath. Notice each breath has a beginning and an end, and a pause, and then a beginning and an end. Each breath is unique and impermanent. I invite you to wiggle your fingers and wiggle your toes. Slowly open your eyes if you'd like, or keep them closed if you wish. I invite any questions. You can just unmute if you'd like. I encourage if you have any questions about the slideshow or the practice of the meditation itself, just let me know.
You can either unmute yourself or put your question in the chat. Either would work. Yeah. Danny, thank you for the great talk and the guided meditation. Thank you.
My pleasure.
I have a question for you.
Yes.
So you can see that this COVID-19 pandemic have big impact on all of us. So I'm a parent of 2 teenagers. I think some participants are either parents or middle school or high schoolers. So how can we recognize the T-Rex in our brain when there is a conflict? For example, when the students play video games for a long period of time, how do we practice this mindful meditation during such scenario?
Yes. Yes. I would say that video games and other distractions or other activities, we'll say, are taking us away from the now, right? So we might be in the now, but it's a very, we're not learning much about ourselves in that now, in my opinion. So I think it's understandable that young people might want to escape, and I'm okay with that. What I would suggest is, if anyone's familiar with computers and smartphones and things like that, what do you have to do every once in a while? You have to take the battery out or reboot it to make your computer or your smartphone function well. We have to do the same thing with our minds. We have to unplug. And I think there just needs to be more balance. It doesn't take much. Now, if something's really just jumps right up at you and it's stressful, even for a parent, someone cuts you off in traffic on the Beltway or wherever, T-Rex is going to come out. What you can do is just right then and there, take that deep breath and create that space, that moat that T-Rex can't come across. And maybe take another deep breath. And I would encourage teenagers to have balance between the game time and time in meditation. I mean, take a look at those top corporations that I showed. I mean, the top corporations, Google, Apple, Silicon Valley, Austin, Texas, all those businesses around there are all utilizing mindfulness. So they're not making free time and providing resources for additional gaming experience or time. They're doing it so that people can relax and become themselves more in the now. So does that answer your question, Yoon, or get close to it?
Thank you. And there's a question in the chat. Do you have the phase-by-phase achievement criteria to assess the development of mindfulness?
Yeah, for me, I don't have one because it really depends on the individual quite a bit. I have people that are parents who've lost their jobs, and that's a different criteria for them of achievement. To me, there was two main things. One is every single morning commuting on the 29 North and getting off at the 100, I'm always in the nice right lane doing my own thing, and people would come up and dive bomb me all the time, right? It used to make my T-Rex come out. Now I know that that's a situation that might occur. I do my breathing in advance even before it happens. And now when the dive bomb happens, I just fill them with love and compassion. Oh, they must be really late from work, or maybe they've got someone pregnant on board and they need to get to the hospital, or imagine that was my mother. Would I want to get angry with her? No. So, and then the other criteria is, what do the people around you notice? Does your parents or your best friends notice a change in you, or your children? Like, I know, like, when my wife started saying, Dennis, you've changed, boom. you know, that was the greatest feeling in the world, is that was showed me that development. And the other thing is, when I'm now talking with my wife, or I'm talking with my sons, if they're over, I stop what I'm doing and I'm fully present in the now with my significant other, my friends, and I give them my full undivided attention. I do not multitask now, because life's too short not to spend special time in the now with your friends and loved ones. So I hope Wang, that answers your question a little bit. So I mean, I could probably go to these research institutions and probably get something a little bit more clinical. And if you'd like to have another session or something, to look at their assessment criteria. But I try to keep it fairly simple. It's like, do you feel better yourself, and do your friends notice the difference?
That's a great suggestion. So basically, first we need to recognize when there is a T-Rex and what triggers that T-Rex. So we get ready, and also we can imagine maybe there are some conditions that contribute to the other people's behavior.
Yes.
try to understand their situation, then we won't be that upset or angry. And then, so first we'll recognize ourselves, and then if people that are close to us notice the difference, which means that we have indeed changed.
Yes. I think that's the best criteria. You know, I mean, we are trying to become more loving, compassionate human beings.
Yeah.
And, you know, if we start, you know, if T-Rex with racism or sexism or any ism starts coming up, boom. If you're mindful, you're going to notice. You're going to notice the changes in the body. Oh, this doesn't feel good. Oh, your mind, go do it, do it, do it, do it, do it. Send that message to that person. Hey, you know, they disrespected you. They were mean to you. Send it, send it, send it. But your stomach doesn't feel good. You know, your body's smarter than your mind. Listen to your body with mindfulness of the body, and then feel the heart trying to open up. And the mind will try to keep it contracted. T-Rex doesn't want you to be put him back in the bottle, you know? So it's mindfulness of the body, mindfulness of the breath will help you listen to the messenger. And, you know, and it'll keep you healthier.
And also, I think giving someone full attention is also very important, because nowadays I think people use smartphone a lot, and you will see that many times when people talking with somebody, they look at their phone frequently. And spending quality time is really important, because basically everyone has 24 hours and we have limited time, and we need to devote time to the ones that we care.
Yeah, it's like, why would you jump to a future thought or a past thought or go to a new activity? What's wrong? What is in the now right now that isn't pleasing to you? Or, you know, do you think the now is boring? You know, is it not exciting enough? Well, have you ever tried it? You know, and it's you're basically exploring infinity when you cultivate a development of the mind and the mind and the heart center. So, um, you know, and you know, in some circles, you know, they would say you're beginning to go on a spiritual path, and there's nothing wrong with that, you know. And so, yeah, there's a lot of, you know, time constraints. Like if something comes up for me, even 1 minute, if I can get 1 minute of mindfulness meditation, just 3 deep breaths, it will change your outlook. They call those M&Ms. Eat your M&Ms. A mindfulness, a mindful minute. So,
Yeah. I think nowadays the challenge we are facing is there are too much information, because there are lots of information going on, lots of activities that you can see from the internet, social media. So people are afraid that they will miss out on something. But at the same time, if we do multitasking, actually we are missing the
oh,
yeah, so that's the dilemma that many of us are facing. And I have also noticed that right now, because there are lots of information coming in, um, it's really different from when we were like a young child. When we were young, we just read books quietly and patiently. Nowadays, if you look at social media or internet or TV, there's so much going on. So many of us already lose the patience of reading long books or even long posts or long emails. So how do we train ourselves to be mindful? And because I think the closer we are to our own mind, to our own body, and to the nature, it really help us to develop.
yes, yes. You know, there's only the now. This is where reality happens, in the now. And if people are, you know, trying to multitask and stay busy so that they don't miss out on anything, they're actually missing out on everything. so, so, so it's nothing is everything. And, you know, everything that you do is essentially nothing if you want to look at it in, you know, like a Zen type of thing. So, you know, I think it comes down to it's different for everybody. You know, how did I get started? You know, how do other meditators get started? What were they looking for? And I'll tell you, you know, and this is what turned it around for me was I searched for a lot of different for happiness and peace in a lot of different areas, right? I mean, I was in martial arts. I trained in Buddhist monasteries with Zen masters, and you know, I you know, did all sorts of young people things in my day, and tried all sorts of different things, and you know, acquired material things, right? All sorts of things. Nothing satisfied my inner sense of fulfillment and joy until I stopped searching and turned around and came back to myself. So I had to it was important for all these things because they reaffirmed that it wasn't them. And so I had to spin a U-turn and come back to myself. And and I think it's just a different time frame for different people to come to that realization. Some people have to bottom out, you know, and have something really life-changing occur to them before they will change. Other people, it'll be, you know, some mentor or someone they look up to, you know, as a role model, and they might do that. So I wouldn't worry about the people that aren't there yet. So because if you worry about them, then all of a sudden this clear jar gets all crazy again, because then you start worrying about what's going to happen with them. And I think you can just be in the now and be fully present and absorb every word, immerse yourself with the other. And what happens is, Yoon, is love is the absence of other. Love, there is no other. And that's where meditation can take you with the people most important to you. And it gives you the patience until you get there.
Yeah, sorry to interrupt. I thought you were stopping. So I have a question for you. This is
Yes.
Todd. I really appreciate this seminar. So my question is, just feel every day pretty busy. There's no time to think about anything else beyond what we're kind of busy every day, like school, children's work, and then the work we're doing. What exactly can we, for example, sit down sometimes, think about something beyond what we're having, as you said, like current?
So in the last few years, I've had a dramatic decrease in the amount of media I put into my head. So, you know, when it comes down to time management and setting my own priorities, TV is not up there anymore. The news is becoming lower and lower on the priorities. I'd rather be meditating for 2 hours. So it is easier for me. I'm empty nest. I got a stable job. I work at home. You know, I've got certain timelines. I try to get up and meditate, try to meditate before bed, and meditate whenever I find a gap in between. I'll go out on the back porch, sit there. I like meditating in nature. I like hearing the birds and, the lawnmowers. T-Rex jumps up when the lawnmowers come, and that's an opportunity, a challenge that you get a chance to practice with. So, Doctor, I think it's just, making the time, 5 minutes a day to start with, 20, 25, 30. And as the benefits grow and you see that, hey, I feel good. I feel like I've recharged my batteries. I think then it gives you whatever the tasks and activities you need to do. I think it brings an additional energy and clarity and intimacy to those other activities that you work on then.
I see.
So,
Thanks.
Thank you, Dennis. I saw there's another question in the chat. Xiang, that nice talk. Also, any tips to prevent the drowsiness during the meditation?
yes. So if I start getting drowsy, I will take a cleansing breath. So I will then arch my back, take a nice deep pranayama inhale through the nostrils and exhale through the nostrils while still maintaining my mindfulness. I'll shift to the breathing practice, still staying in the mind. So and we want to breathe in through the nostrils so that the cilia and mucus can cleanse the breathing, to cleanse the breath, right? To filter it out so that we can strengthen our immune systems. And the particulate matter gets trapped and any travelers on that particulate matter. Then when we exhale again back out through the nostrils. And people say, oh, I thought you were supposed to breathe out your mouth. No, you want to backwash that filter in your nasal and respiratory cavities. So you want to go in through the nose, out through the nose. And then if it turns out you just really, really feel sleepy, some of the best meditations I've ever had is lying down. So you can do walking meditation, sitting meditation, lying down meditation. And so if you get drowsy, I would just, meditate for when you can, but once you feel that it's becoming counterproductive, call it a session, call it a day, go get some rest. So there's nothing other than taking some deep breathing, 2 or 3 deep breaths to re-oxygenate the body, and also maybe adjust the posture, because if your chest is caved in a bit, you might not be getting the carbon dioxide leaving your body properly, and that might be causing some drowsiness. I hope that answers your question, Wayne.
Yeah, Yang, thank you for the question. I remember that when I was a child, sometimes I feel sleepy. So I told my mom, she said, well, if you feel sleepy, then go get some rest because your body needs it.
Yes, I agree with that 100%. I don't try to fight it. Meditation should be natural, and eventually meditation becomes your natural state. I mean, so when you're sitting there washing your hands or chewing on a carrot, these are all mindful activities. You're feeling, the water and the warmth or the temperature. You're feeling the crunch. You're smelling the carrots, you're tasting them. I mean, there's a lot to life just eating a carrot. All right, you can find the meaning of life eating a grape or an almond.
Yeah, I agree completely. Well, now we are 5 minutes past 4, and thank you so much for the great talk and the guided meditation. Thank you, Dennis.
You're very welcome,
everyone, for joining us. Have a nice day. Bye.
Thank you. You too. Thanks. Thank you, everyone.